I never thought a photograph could break me. Yet, as I held the glossy sheets in my trembling hands, my chest felt like it had been crushed by a sledgehammer, and every word I had left unspoken lodged itself in my throat. The world around me, the warm morning light spilling through the blinds, the hum of the city outside, the faint aroma of coffee, seemed unreal, almost distant. Nothing mattered except those images, frozen in time, showing a side of my wife I didn't even know existed. Her name was Eliza. For 10 years she had been my partner, my confidant, the one person I had thought understood me better than anyone else. We had a house in the suburbs, 2 cats, a mortgage we were slowly chipping away at, and what I had believed was a steady, enduring love. But love, I realized too late, is not always enough to shield you from betrayal. It had started with a seed of doubt. Nothing substantial at first, just a strange tension between us, fleeting glances that carried an unfamiliar distance, the way she would disappear on long errands without explanation. I tried to tell myself I was imagining things, that maybe I was overworked, overthinking, letting anxiety twist reality. But deep down, something whispered that I needed to know the truth, no matter how painful. So, I did what I never imagined I'd do. I hired a private investigator. I told him nothing more than her name, routine, and some hints of her daily life. I didn't care about the cost. I didn't care about ethics or dignity. I only cared about the truth. When the man finally handed me the envelope yesterday afternoon, I could feel my pulse pounding, my hands slick with sweat. Inside were a series of photos, timestamps neatly printed in the corner. Eliza leaving our house, coffee in hand. Eliza at a cafe, laughing. Eliza leaning into someone with a familiarity I had never been allowed. And then I saw him, or rather, him in a way that made my stomach drop so violently I thought I might be sick. It wasn't a stranger, not exactly. It was my best friend, Jonah. My best friend, the one man I had trusted more than anyone else in the world, standing with my wife in that intimate, unbearable way. They were sitting so close at a table that their knees were touching, laughing as if the world outside didn't exist. And in the next frame, Jonah's hand rested on her shoulder, an effortless, natural motion that my own hand had never earned the right to perform. Snap. Not in the dramatic, cinematic way you imagine when betrayal is discovered. No, it was quieter at first, a strangled, choking scream that got stuck in my throat. I felt lightheaded, every muscle screaming in protest as the betrayal sank its claws into my chest. I couldn't look away from the photos, as if staring at them might somehow allow me to undo the nightmare. Memories, once warm and comforting, now twisted like barbed wire. I remembered laughing in this very cafe on a rainy afternoon, Eliza's hand brushing mine, the way we had shared secrets over cappuccinos. Had she ever looked at me like that? Had those moments been real, or just a rehearsed performance I had been too naive to notice? I didn't call Jonah that day. I didn't confront Eliza immediately. My brain was fractured into pieces, each thought bleeding into the next. Anger, disbelief, grief, humiliation. That night I sat on the edge of our bed, the photos spread out in front of me, and tried to breathe. I thought of the first time I had proposed, the first time she had whispered my name in the dark. And then I thought of Jonah's smile, the way he had always been there for me, and now the way he had turned into my enemy without me noticing. The next morning I pretended. I acted like nothing had happened. I made her coffee, kissed her forehead, asked about her day. Every word was a knife twisting in my gut, every gesture a performance that made my bones ache. But inside I was preparing, calculating. I needed to see the depth of this betrayal, to understand if this was a fleeting mistake or a carefully nurtured affair. I followed her myself once. Not directly, not enough to risk being seen, but enough to confirm what I had already feared. She went to the cafe again, the same one from the photos, and there he was, waiting for her with that easy grin. She smiled back, leaned in as if I didn't exist, and in that moment, I realized I had become invisible in my own life. Confrontation came the next evening. I waited until she returned home, pretending to watch TV, though my fingers were itching to shatter something. When she stepped through the door, I could smell the faint hint of his cologne on her coat. She smiled, tired from her day, and leaned down to kiss me. I recoiled slightly, just enough that she noticed. "Eliza," I said, voice low, trembling with the weight of a storm. She froze. Her eyes narrowed, scanning my face for clues, and I watched a flicker of guilt, or was it fear, cross her expression. "We need to talk," I said, voice steadier than I felt. The living room felt suddenly too small, the walls pressing in with the history of our years together. She sat on the couch, hands folded in her lap, and I remained standing, the envelope with the photos now clutched like a weapon in my hand. "I know," I said finally, sliding the photos across the table. "I saw everything." Her eyes went wide. What do you mean?" she whispered, voice shaky. I wanted to scream, to throw the photos at her, to demand every answer, every confession. But instead, I simply watched her, studying the subtle ways her shoulders slumped, the quiver in her lips. "I know about Jonah," I said quietly. "I know everything." For a long moment, silence swallowed us. Then she spoke, voice barely above a whisper. It's not what you think." I didn't. But I interrupted her, voice sharp now, a raw edge cutting through the air. "Not what I think. Eliza, I saw you. I saw the way you looked at him, the way you laughed at things you never laughed at with me. I saw your hand on his shoulder. And I saw him touch you in ways I have never been allowed." Tears welled up in her eyes. I didn't mean for it to happen," she said, voice cracking. It started one night after we argued and I felt, I don't know, lonely. I wasn't thinking, love you. I love you so much, I swear. But something between us. We drifted. The words barely registered. I wanted to throw something, break everything in this house that had once symbolized our love. Instead, I felt numb, my body a hollow shell of anger and grief. "You love me," I whispered, laughing bitterly. "You love me, and yet you're lying in his arms." "I never wanted to hurt you," she sobbed. "I never wanted this to happen. I thought maybe it could stay a secret. But I see now it can't. I hate that I hurt you." And that was it. There were no excuses, no justifications that mattered. The betrayal had already happened. The choice to trust me, to honor our marriage, had been abandoned. I walked to the window, staring out at the city below, feeling the weight of everything collapse around me. I could forgive her eventually, maybe. But could I trust her again? Could I look at Jonah, at my so-called friend, and not feel a punch to the gut every time I saw him? The thought alone made my chest tighten. She came up behind me, arms trembling, trying to reach for me. I didn't turn. I didn't speak. I only let the silence stretch between us, a canyon of broken vows and shattered trust.